Okay, for this quick tutorial, we're just going to take you through one example of how to get some data out of data.census.gov. So in the very basic search window, I'm just going to type in veterans and hit search. And you can see there are all sorts of tables that are offered up. I'm just going to go with veteran status and click on that one. And you can see that there's a ton of information here. This is for the region of the United States, but we can customize this pretty easily. So I'm going to go to Customize Table. And one of the first things I'm going to do is look at my geos and click on that. And I'm going to say geographies. It's kind of knows what I've been doing. So I'm going to focus on Florida and say all counties in Florida. And then we'll hit close and see what happens. All right, so you can see that here in Alachua County we have 215,000 population, 15,000 veterans, and a percentage of like 7% basically. And then there's all of this other stuff, just tons and tons of stuff. So next we need to figure out if we're looking at a complete set of data. So one way we can do that is we can look at the map. So if we map this data, we can see that we have the state of Florida, and you can see that all of these counties are indeed showing up on their choropleth map. Now, if we had chosen a different year, like the most recent year, which is the 1 year estimate, there's going to be some missing data, so some incomplete data there. So we don't want to mess around with that. So we could actually go back 1 year at a time until we find a complete set of data for the most recent year. And that comes to the 5-year estimates for here. So when we have this looking kind of the way we want it to, and we're sure that we have a complete set of data, we can go back to table. And since I want to prepare this for use in a Tableau or Flourish product, I want them kind of transposed. So I can just click transpose, and now I can see that my counties are running down the side here. And I don't really care about all of this other data. All I really care about is these two columns of data. So a quick way to see if this is working for us would be to select just these two columns cell by cell. And it might take a while to get that selection complete. But we're getting there. And there we go. So now we've got all of that stuff selected, and I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to take it into Excel and create a new file. And we'll make that big. And I'm going to increase the size of it to about 150% to make it easier for you to see. And then I'm just going to hit paste. And you can see right off the bat that our data is coming in nice clean columns. Now it's a little confusing because it's not exactly ready to use. So we the labels are lined up a little goofy. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is just show you one way of kind of cleaning this up to make it usable. So the first thing is I'm going to add some columns. Do you see this is the percentage veterans here? And that's the number I'm interested in. So I'm actually going to select all of these columns, or rows, sorry, and insert new ones. All right. And then I'm going to select this column and copy it and paste it again. And actually, you know what? I didn't need to add those columns, so let me get those back out. Or rows, sorry. And so what I want to do is set up a column for this figure, and this figure. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete everything above that. For here, we'll start off here, and I'll delete that. And when I delete that, I want to shift cells up. We'll do the same thing for here. We're going to shift cells, delete and shift cells up. And then same thing here, delete and shift cells up. Okay, so now you can see that we have the county, we have the total population, the number of veterans, and the percentage of veterans. All right, so I'm going to insert one column, back to inserting rows again, and I'm just going to label these. So county, population, veterans, and percent. Okay, so now we just need to get rid of all of this gobbledygook down here. And the way we're going to do that is with a filter. So we come up here to sort and filter, do a filter, and when we click on this little pull down arrow, we get our filter dialog box, and you can see that mostly we have county names in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to unclick anything that isn't a county name. So there's estimate, we'll get rid of that. And margin of error, we'll get rid of that. Non-veterans, we can get rid of that. Percent non-veterans, percent veterans, total, and veterans. All right, so now by getting rid of all of that stuff, we're left with just 4 columns of data. And so that looks pretty good, pretty cleaned up. And because that's a filtered selection, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to copy it and paste it into a new sheet. So we'll do that, select the rows, copy, create a new sheet, and paste. And now, let's select those and expand them, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so now if we were going to map this in Tableau as a choropleth, we would need the county and state names separated from one another, and that's actually pretty easy to do. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to insert one column and write in state, and then go down a cell and say Florida, FL, and then I'm going to autofill it. All right, so now all we need to do is get rid of county, comma, space, Florida, and we can do that with a find and replace. So we go to edit, find and replace right down here, and we're going to type in space, county, Florida, space, county, comma, space, Florida, and we're going to replace it with nothing. And we're going to make sure that this is set to just this sheet, and we're going to go replace all. And all 67 were replaced, and that's good. That's a good sign, because we know there's 67 counties in Florida, and that shows and reminds us that we have a complete record. So we can close that down. And then if we take a good look at our data, this is pretty good to go. We can go ahead and map this any way we want. And so you can see it's not too hard to get usable data out of the census for even putting together simple data visualizations. So hope that helps, and we'll see you soon.